So welcome to the Nonprofit Plug. My name is Kia Tattegrain, and I am here to talk about transparent information about nonprofits. If you watched the last Nonprofit Plug video, we were talking about is starting a nonprofit for you. So we went through the different responsibilities and what is needed of nonprofit founders. And so today I wanted to talk about the characteristics of nonprofit founders. All leaders are different, which means they have different characteristics. Not every person is perfect, and they don't have every single type of characteristic or quality in order to make sure they are efficient as a leader. And so because the fact that we don't have every single quality as a leader, we depend on the team of the organization to be able to assist us with certain things. So for example, if an individual is a founder of a nonprofit, they are more of a visionary, but they don't really do well with the details. They usually bring someone on their team who is excellent at working out the details and being able to follow up on things. So that's just one of the examples. So I'm going to provide a list of these characteristics of nonprofit founders. It is not an exhaustive list, which means that there are a lot of characteristics that can be added to it. And so let's get started. The first one I have is leadership skills. And this one may be a bit obvious for people. You're going to need to have leadership skills. You're going to need to be able to lead the people that you're working with on your team, as well as the people that you're serving. If you do not have leadership skills or you need to enhance them, I always encourage people to always seek opportunities to grow. The next quality is passionate. You have to be passionate about the mission that you are creating, the vision you have established. You have to be passionate about doing the work for the people you serve. You have to be passionate enough each day to wake up and work on that thing, work on that organization. I can't remember if I expressed this in my last video, but in my last video or at some point, when I started my nonprofit organization, I used to express it as a project. I would say, so I'm just working on a project, and I would discount the information that I was doing, the things that I was doing, by saying that it was just a project, when in fact it was a organization. It was an established nonprofit, and so I would downplay what I would do. So I would say to you, do not do that. For a variety of reasons. You want to be able to express your mission to people. You want to give people the opportunity to get involved with what you're doing. So don't downplay what you're doing because of your insecurities. That was the fact for me. I was insecure about what I was doing. I didn't know if I was being effective. I was new to the nonprofit sector, so I had no idea what I was doing. So don't downplay what you are doing for your organization and for the people you serve. The next quality is philanthropy, which this means someone who enjoys acquiring new knowledge and will always allow you to be able to pivot. So someone who is always seeking knowledge is always going to grow. And as you grow, your organization is going to grow. So, for example, what is going on in our environment right now is demanding or really calling on people to pivot in this situation. And so if situations like this occur, you have to be able to pivot. And how do you do that? One way is to be able to educate yourself on different things that are changing in the nonprofit sector. Maybe your approach to fundraising was you're just getting sponsorships from a variety of corporations, but now a lot of corporations are shutting down. So you have to be able to pivot and say, how are we still going to be able to raise the money we need despite the fact that corporations are shutting down? The corporate sponsors we've been working with have been saying that they're going to be terminated as far as their business. So how are we going to get our funds in? And so that's the chance where you can pivot and you can say, well, I think our organization can go this route. Let's do peer-to-peer fundraising. Let's do something that is going to allow us to bring in those funds that we need. Just because the things are happening in the environment, just because things are changing, doesn't mean that you should stop asking for funding for your organization, because when everything is over, when all things are done with, you're going to need to still run your organization, so you're going to need that funding. The next quality is resilient, and we're going through the characteristics of nonprofit founders. Nonprofit founders are resilient. There are a variety of challenges that occur for nonprofits, especially behind the scenes, and of course it's always going to be behind the scenes because the organization wants to represent themselves well. So you're going to have a variety of challenges when it comes to the people you serve, when it comes to the people on your team, when it comes to different aspects of your organization. So you have to be resilient in all aspects. You have to realize that your resiliency is going to allow you to carry the organization forward, even when people say things that are incorrect, even when people perceive things incorrectly, even when the organization seems like it's going to need to shut down in different situations. And the challenges are going to come in a variety of ways. The challenges are going to be different. And so resiliency is going to allow you to stay strong and stay encouraged and stay motivated for your mission. The next quality I want to talk about is being strategic. And this goes back to having the desire to continue to acquire knowledge. So if you are strategic, that means that you can think about things in a certain way, and you can say, okay, so this approach to what we're doing didn't work out, so we need to do it another way. I've had a lot of experiences with my organization where we were just starting out our work in a country that I was not familiar with, and I had initial intentions about how I was going to go about creating different things, creating different programs. And then after getting a better understanding, talking with the community leaders and so forth, I was able to strategize about how that is going to be better, how we can actually make programs that are going to be effective and be, most importantly, effective for the people we serve. Another way to be strategic and to gain knowledge is to talk with organizations who are doing similar work, who are working in the areas that you're working in, who have experience. Talk to those kind of people. Ask them if you can get them on a phone call for 30 minutes or whatever the case, and ask them questions that you have about having an organization in a different country, having an organization in a different state, different challenges they went through and how they handled it. So those expert interviews, what I'm referring to, can help you with learning more about the situation, learning more about the people who have gone through the things that you are facing or may face. And so that insight is going to allow you to be able to say, well, I know that this individual, this organization went through something similar. This is what their approach was and their resolution, and so we're going to apply that to my organization, or we're going to change it and we're going to say this is a new approach. So another aspect of a nonprofit founder's characteristics, and I think this one is really important, is loyalty. So I think I may have talked about this in my last video, where I was saying that I was expressing the conversation I had with someone who was trying to discourage me from the work that I was doing. And so I was saying in that example that person was saying that we should serve another group of people, that we would be more efficient doing this and that. And so what my response was is I said, I do not plan to abandon the people that I'm working with. I am going to continue coming to this country and so forth. So you have to be loyal to the people you're serving. If you start an organization, you start your programs, there are going to be people that are depending on those programs, people that are going to be depending on your organization. One extra piece to add to that is the fact that depending on who you serve, you need to make sure that they are not becoming completely dependent. For example, sometimes in certain regions, the people that you serve become so dependent that they are not willing to cooperate, willing to provide the information you need, not willing to work with you in order to develop their own self and their community. So that's something I wanted to add to that, because you have to make sure that your mission is in alignment with the work that you're doing. If you're saying in your mission that you want the people you serve to become self-sufficient, but they are depending so much on your organization that it takes away from their desire to work on goals, their desire to develop themselves, their desire to provide the information you need in order to make the mission go forward, then you are allowing them to have a crutch. And that crutch is eventually going to become a disability, and a long-term disability, because you are not stepping in and saying that this is the mission of our organization. Our vision is that we will be able to step aside and say, this is what we're able to establish. And now, since you guys have learned this, go forth and train other individuals. And so that's just something I wanted to add in there. Correct. So the next quality I have here is transparent. Characteristics of a nonprofit founder is they're transparent. Now, a lot of people have different ideas about the nonprofit sector, about different nonprofits, and this is all based on the news, what they hear about organizations, the ethical aspects that weren't so ethical, the things they speak about mishandling of funds among nonprofits. And so that's why it's important for you to be transparent as a leader of your organization, because the more transparent you are, the more people are going to want to give to your organization, the more people are going to trust you, the more people are going to want to get involved in some way. And this only creates more validity for your organization by you being more transparent. Even if you are a nonprofit organization that is small, that is just starting, that practice of transparency, even from the beginning of your organization until the organization is handed off to someone else, is going to continue to allow donors and people and supporters and constituents to see that this organization is an organization I want to give to, an organization I want to be involved with for a long period of time, because I know that when I give my funds to this organization, they're going to use it as appropriate as possible. They're going to use it as they say they're going to use it, and they're going to use it in order to drive the mission, which I am involved in and I am passionate about. Donors are passionate about the things that your organization is doing. The donors that give to your organization have a similar passion. And so when your mission aligns with their passion, they're more likely to give to your organization. And so I just wanted to point that out. Be transparent about the information that you're doing, or the services that you're providing, your programs, the finances, everything, so that you can continue to build that trust. So next quality here is integrity. I was actually, this is a side note, I was watching a show last night. No, not last night. At some point I was watching a show. And in this show, they were saying how they're at a sponsor event, like a fundraising event, and they're giving a speech about this person, and they're saying, we're just honoring him because of his integrity and all these things. But in the reality, that individual did not have integrity. They were violating certain laws in the states, and they were violating the trust of the people that they're serving. And so your integrity behind the scenes, behind the walls, behind everything that's happening, behind the website and the social media presence and everything else, you need to be able to go behind closed doors and do what's right. It's not just about doing what's right online and expressing things that are inaccurate in order to gain something from people and misleading them. It's about being able to do things right always. It's not just about appearance for appearance sake. It's about the people that you're serving and the people that you're working with. So integrity is I think one of the top characteristics that a nonprofit founder should possess. Next is accountability, and this kind of goes along with integrity. You have to be accountable to the people you're serving. You have to be accountable to yourself. If you are someone that needs to be led on, like you need things to, you need to have a schedule for things and you don't know how to go about having a schedule, you're not very good at creating a schedule, staying on schedule, you're not good with the details, and you need to make sure you have someone on your team that is all those things that you're not. And it's okay to be honest and say, I'm not this person, I need this help, because you can't run an organization by yourself. As much as you'd like to think so, it's not possible to do it. So be accountable for yourself. If you know you need help, say it. If you know that you are going to need to pay someone to do something that you can't do it. And of course, make sure that it's appropriate and it's appropriately priced. But just be accountable for yourself and be accountable for the people that you're serving. Next one, and we're almost done, is being a critical thinker. You need to be a critical thinker and a problem solver. You need to be a critical thinker and a problem solver. You need to be able to think strategically, like we said before, but you also need to be able to step back and think about things before you act. A lot of the things that I do for my organization, I always step back and think about them before I respond. Sometimes people will say things that are inappropriate, and I will step back and I'll wait to respond. These are the things that go on behind the scenes, and I just want to be open about it. And so you need to be that type of person to sit back, take some time to think about it, even if it's a few days. Talk about it with someone who's a trusted leader, a trusted friend, a trusted colleague about the situation, someone that's not going to be biased about it, and say, let me think about this before I act on it, because you don't want it to go back to your organization. Everything you say is going to go back to your organization. Every type of communication, even if it's not verbally speaking to someone, if it's an email or a text or whatever the case is, going to fall back on your organization. So you want to make sure that you're doing things right, you're doing things with quality, and you're doing things that hold you accountable for the people you're working with. Next one is business minded. So many people think a nonprofit isn't a business. You don't have sales. And yes, you do have sales, but you don't call them sales. You call it fundraising. And fundraising is just like asking someone for a sale. You're asking someone to fund your organization, and so you have to promote it. For a business, they promote their shirts, for example. For your organization, you promote the work and the programs that you're doing. You're promoting the students that you're sponsoring if you have a student sponsorship program. Your sales that come in, that revenue that comes in, that translates into donations and sponsorships. So you can see that if you're business minded, you know how to transfer those skills into being a nonprofit founder. You have to realize that if you're not getting in front of enough people to ask them to give to your organization, then they're not going to have the opportunity to do that. And so this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of this conversation, is that don't downplay what you do. Don't call it a project. It's not a project, it's an organization. Express the things that you're doing with the people that are in your circle, even the people that you meet, because you don't know where that's going to lead. You don't know where it's going to lead. You're not going to know what kind of people are going to give. So don't stay silent about the things that you're doing. So going back to being business minded, another aspect of a business is that they have to continue to be consistent with their promotion and marketing. Sometimes they do ads. And so how that translates into your organization is you have to be consistent also with the information you're sharing. You're being consistent with the email list. You're being consistent with the donors. You're following up with them. You're giving them your acknowledgement letters. You're being consistent on social media. Whenever you receive new updates about programs, new updates from the leaders you're working with, updates from the population you're serving, then you are expressing that and showing that on social media. So being business minded is going to get you to a level of success that is going to benefit the people that you serve. There are a lot of aspects about businesses that are not transferable. But those kind of aspects that are transferable, having that mindset that you need to continue to be strategic, that you continue to market, that you change your approach in certain situations, that you need to market in a different kind of way, that's going to help you drive your mission in the work of your organization. Ways you can encourage people to donate is that you can just continue to be honest. There is no real way to do it. I have had fundraisers that have been very successful. I have had fundraisers that have been not so successful. Like, we haven't reached our fundraising goal. And so you have to just continue to do the fundraisers, and you also have to continue to change things, to be willing to change your approach to things. So if you've had a fundraiser and you said, okay, this approach didn't work so well, we only met 50% of our goal, we chose in this fundraiser to only do email marketing, and maybe if we would have included social media, it would have been more efficient. So one example I can express is our last fundraiser. We decided to just have mostly social media, and we only sent out 2 emails for the fundraiser. So we participated in Giving Tuesday Now, which is on May 5th, and we as an organization, we said we're only going to focus mostly on social media, and then email, we'll send out an email a week before, and then we'll send out another email the morning of, and then the afternoon the same day. And so we had 3 total emails we sent out versus the fundraisers we've done in the past where we have used email primarily, and it seemed to exhaust people a little bit. Yeah, I'm a little distracted. I saw there's a squirrel sitting outside my car, and he's watching me. Okay, so when you're able to pivot from those types of situations is when you'll be able to be more efficient with your fundraisers. And don't be so close-minded about how to go about things. And also, don't be discouraged when you have your first fundraiser or the second or the third and it's not meeting your goal. Make sure that you're being consistent. And at some point I'm going to talk about the tips and insights about communications, and how communications and marketing and fundraising are all 3 prongs of things. So, moving on, and this goes back to the quality I discussed, business-minded, being a seller. Like I was saying before, is that being a seller is part of a business, part of a corporation. They often have different sales going on. They often have different products that are coming out. And so you have to be strategic about how are we going to express the new updates for our program? How are we going to express this new launch of a program? How are you going to express the launch of this giving day? So having that mindset that I'm a seller, that I need to acquire funding for my organization, will allow you to be strategic, be open, allows you to be smart about how you're going to ask for those donations. Often people think they asked people too much about donations, and the fact is that you may not be asking them enough. So for every 7 people that you promote to who see your information about your organization, only 1 of them is going to give. I mean, and in different cases it varies. It may be more or less, but you want to be able to give as many people the opportunity to give as possible. So if you're not promoting as often as you can, and I'm not saying you need to promote every single day on the hour, what I'm saying is find whatever your schedule is, find whatever the schedule is of your followers, because your followers are going to tell you the information about what they like. They're going to tell you information about when to post. They're going to tell you what kind of information. Do they like videos? Do they like graphics? Do they like pictures of the students and the youth that you serve? And at some point I'm going to be talking about how you can track and look into the insights that your social media platforms will give you for your nonprofits, and this is going to help you take your communications, take your social media platforms to the next level. Alright, so we're on the last two qualities. So visionary. A nonprofit founder has to be a visionary. You have to have your vision in mind and keep that vision in mind. Be able to express that vision to people. Express that vision to people who are on your team, especially because they are going to be the key points and the key people to bringing your mission into fruition. And that rhymed. Bringing your mission into fruition. But that's the truth. They're going to be involved with that. So you have to continue to express that to them so they can jump in, they can get involved, and they can help you with making that a reality. And finally, the final quality of a nonprofit leader is to remain positive, because different challenges are going to occur. Like I said, they're going to occur with the people you work with, the people that you serve, the different operations of the organization. And so if you're able to maintain a positive mindset through it all, because you are the leader in the face of the organization, you don't want to let people know what's going on behind the scenes. There's going to be things that are going on behind the scenes, but it's not your task, and it's not their role to know what's going on behind the scenes. And so when you're able to remain positive through it all and be resilient, like we talked about before, that is going to make the work of your organization go to the next level. You're going to be able to lead your people well. You're going to be able to take the challenges and grow from them, and be strategic and change and pivot and decide on a different approach and be open-minded about things. So those were the qualities I want to express of a nonprofit founder. Once again, that list is not all of the qualities that a nonprofit founders possess, but I want to express the qualities that I think are important and stood out to me, and what I've realized in other nonprofit founders that I know, nonprofit leaders that I know. So I hope you enjoyed the nonprofit plug. If you are a nonprofit founder, you want to connect and say, Kia, I am a nonprofit founder, I need assistance in this area, let's jump on a 30-minute strategy call. Whether you're a nonprofit founder, if you need assistance in social media strategy, if you need assistance in communications, send me an email. My email is on this title. It is contact@kiaharris.com. You can send me an email and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Just make sure you let me know what you want to talk about. If you say, let's talk about fundraising for my organization as a nonprofit that is a startup. If you want to talk about social media strategy, just go ahead and express in that email what you want to discuss, and we can set up a 30-minute call. My website is going to be updated later, and you'll be able to find all the information about the work that I do in regards to nonprofit consulting. And if you just have a general question that you have, feel free to email me as well, contact@kiaharris.com. Share this with other nonprofit founders that you know, other nonprofit leaders in the initial stages. Share it with someone who may be considering starting a nonprofit. So if this is YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe so you can get notifications about these videos every Tuesday at 12:12 Pacific Standard Time. And like, share, and comment. Let me know your thoughts about this conversations we've had today, if it's insightful. What additional qualities would you say a nonprofit founder has to have? What qualities do you have as a nonprofit founder? So I want to hear from you. Feel free to reach out. Feel free to connect. And if at one point we talk, I'm looking forward to it. And so I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your week. Keep on working on those goals for your nonprofit. Think now about your fundraisers that are going to happen towards the end of the year. The sooner you think about those fundraisers, the sooner you can plan it out, the sooner you can make them more efficient, the sooner you can have everything ready. So when that fundraising day comes up, you won't have to worry about continuing to post or worry about things that you should have done months ago. So that is all. Be blessed, and we'll talk soon.